Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to take a minute as we're starting our review and study of equations and look at one-step equations, kind of going over the basics and why we do what we do. So I have 4 one-step equations here. That means that on this side of the equal sign, there is one operation. Now, it is probably review from 6th and 7th grade to do a couple of things. 1, we're going to want to keep our equal signs lined up. 2, whatever you do to one side of equation, you have to do to the other. Otherwise, they're not equal. Imagine if your parent came home and they gave your siblings each $5 and did not give any to you. What you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other. I'm very aware that life is not fair, but math works in a very equitable way. So, in this equation, we have x, which just stands for something. Something plus 4 equals 13. Well, right now, we have a plus 4. We're adding 4 to x to find this value. The inverse operation is to subtract 4. And because of the subtraction property of equality, I do it to both sides. So plus 4 minus 4, those cancel each other out, and I now have x equals 13 minus 4. So x equals 9. The value of x is 9. The next one is kind of the inverse of that. Something minus 7 equals negative 2. Okay, so I started with something and now I'm negative 2. Well, the inverse operation of negative 7 is positive 7. So both sides of the equation are going to get this positive 7. And because these are constants, I can add them together. Notice I'm not adding the 7 to n. That's a variable, and these wouldn't be like terms. I can only combine like terms. These cancel each other out. N is equal to, well, if I have 7 positives and 2 negatives, that leaves me with 5 positives. Okay. Now, this next one sometimes freaks students out because it looks like a fraction. Well, it does. Because a fraction always and always will be division. So this is saying that x divided by 6 equals 3. Something divided by 6 equals 3. Well, what's the opposite of divide by 6? It's to multiply by 6. So I'm going to use 6 over 1, a fractional version of 6, times x over 6. What I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So then 6 times 3, well, if you remember from multiplying fractions, 6 over 1 times x over 6, we can cancel these, which was the entire purpose of multiplying, and I'm just left with x. X equals 18. I don't want you to ever be afraid of fractions. They are simply division problems. And if you treat them like that, that's a lot smaller hurdle. Now in this last one, 4 times something, 4 times x, equals 28. Well, the inverse operation of 4 times something is to divide by. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. Because of the division property of equality, if I divide both sides of the equation, it stays equal. These cancel each other out. X equals 7. Now, truly the key to equations is practice. If these are a struggle for you, find an old textbook, go on Khan Academy, just type in one-step equations. The real key to equations, honestly and truly, is practice. And if you just practice a few, it'll start to become second nature. Have a great day.